Hello and welcome back to the Tank Observers podcast. As always, I'm your host Jackson McCarty, alongside my co-host Chris Barr. And Chris, what are we doing today?
Today we are talking about college quarterbacks. Not the obvious ones. We all know who they are. Trevor.
Fields.
Exactly. We're going to look at some of basically just everyone below them, directly below them. Top next 5 guys below them.
Yeah, next 4 and then one that is not yet eligible, but we'll save him for last because he'll be interesting to look at. But yeah, today we are buying or selling. We're looking at the stocks of these guys. We're figuring out if we as NFL armchair GMs would take them where they're projected to currently. So first off, let's start off with the man who is currently second in the Heisman race, definitely in my opinion, Kyle Trask. Topher, what are you thinking about Kyle so far?
Kyle Trask is massive, for starters. 6'5", 240 is a really nice frame for a quarterback. Kind of gives off these Ben Roethlisberger vibes.
Yeah, Elway designed him. He's leasing out a lab to make more Kyle Trasks by the minute.
Why wouldn't he? He has the arm but knows when to use touch. He's very smart when he's passing. He can put a little touch on the ball.
Just a little zip.
Just a little flick.
Yeah.
He knows exactly where to put the ball. He's got really good placement, loves his over-the-shoulder throws. Like that. You know exactly what I mean.
The over-the-shoulder.
Exactly. Yes. I figured I'd demonstrate. And through his first 2 games, he's completing 71% of his passes. So he's just a solid QB. I'm buying.
Yeah.
If it wasn't obvious by all these compliments I'm just throwing his way so generously.
That's understandably so, and I'm in the exact same boat as you, Tov. When you look at him, like I mentioned earlier, Elway is drooling over this kid. Even if he likes Drew Lock, he's going to be looking at Kyle Trask. Dan Mullen has made him look like straight gold. After Felipe Franks went down, Trask was not handed a level of hype or a level of expectations that one would hope in their backup. Nobody really knew who he was. But since the moment he's got in there and he's been throwing the rock, I think Florida fans as a whole are very, very happy with what they've seen. He's already at 10-to-1 ratio to 10 touchdowns to 1 interception. He's straight balling, and though his schedule has been weak, we're about to see him play A&M, LSU, Missouri's you guys know what Missouri is, and then Georgia. So this next 4-week slate is really going to test the mettle with him, but I find it hard not to believe that he could be slipping into the first round now.
Well, I did say I'm buying.
Yeah.
And I am. But his best games are still ahead of him. He's still got some tough opponents.
Very.
So while he might have looked amazing in these first 2 games, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I am buying, but I'd like to see what he does against some of these other teams.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. From one quarterback that we have plenty more of games to watch to a quarterback where we're not going to see him until he dons NFL colors, Trey Lance. We've seen all the action we're getting from him in this college season. He threw the pick against UCA. They did end up winning, obviously. Where are you standing with Trey Lance?
Well, in 2 years, of course he's only played 1 game, but in 2 years with 1 turnover, he looks like the 3rd stud of this class. We have 1, 2, this is our 3.
Yep.
And I don't see that changing. Obviously, we're not going to see more of him. We're going to see more of other guys. But that's also more opportunities for them to slip up and him to stay right where he is because he's number 3 and he's very solidly number 3.
Yeah, he's that shark in the water waiting for a certain Justin Fields to slip up a bit.
And if Justin Fields slips up, Justin Fields is going to go down. Trey Lance is going to stay put. He's going to jump him.
Yeah. And the difference between Justin Fields just having a few bad games could mean as many as 10 picks for Trey Lance just for sitting on the sidelines. He doesn't have to do anything, but if he jumps over Fields on the boards, he's taking his spot wherever that may be.
It's going to be a lot harder for Fields to move up than to move down, obviously. He's not jumping Trevor Lawrence.
No.
But it's going to be really easy for him to move down because people love Trey Lance.
It would take Andrew Luck's body double to pass Trevor Lawrence in this class to me. which Trevor Lawrence isn't too far off of being Andrew Luck's body double, but I digress. I am giving Trey Lance a bit of hype right now. I'm going to sell him. I'm not totally bought in. I just don't. I know that the competition argument has been worn thin. NDSU is not an elite program. I mean, they are in the FCS, but they're not Georgia. They're not Florida. They're not Bama. I get that it's been worn thin and you've heard it a million times, but it's absolutely legitimate. You have to worry about, is UCA, a team that is 2 hours away from my hometown. I know how good and how bad they are. They're not ever going to be the level of Alabama, of course. Or they're not going to be the level of Clemson or these other guys that these top-tier quarterbacks are going to have to play. So that is a big worry to me. Also, everybody was tuning in to the NDSU game against UCA, and he threw a pick. And I get that one pick is very redeemable, but he didn't do one of those all of last season. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Seems a bit like he choked under the pressure. Everybody's like, whoa, let's go watch this quarterback. He's top 3. He's supposed to be this guy who doesn't ever turn the ball over. Some absolute magician, and he threw the pick. There's just so much that I worry about with him. I do think he could be a good quarterback, but I'm not sold on him yet. Simplest way to do that.
Very reasonable. You're overthinking it, though. He could potentially be the Russell Wilson of this class.
Ooh.
I am buying.
Ooh.
That's it. That's
Russell
all I have.
Wilson.
Yes.
I'm assuming the comparison between Luck obviously being Trevor, RG3 being Fields, he being Wilson.
Russ.
Hey, well, I guess we'll see in
Danger Russ.
9 months, 8 months, somewhere in there.
Oh, I'm excited.
Hey, next up, we have a quarterback that I have been on record being very into as far as last season. This year's a bit of a worry, though. Brock Purdy. You want to start us off on this one, Toph?
Not very impressed so far, Mr. Purdy. You literally had a game this season where you did not throw a touchdown. And I know I'm acting as if I'm speaking directly to him, but let me tell you, I wish I could. He threw a touchdown. He threw no touchdowns and a pick in his first game, and yes, it was a loss. And then he came back, won both of his next games.
Yeah.
2-1, solid record. He's thrown 2 touchdowns, just as many touchdowns as he has wins. Something he needs to work on. That being said, I'm not ready to give up. I'm buying. I like Brock Purdy.
I think I've sent you down my train of thought here. I think I might have won you over with my very public wooing of Brock Purdy. Are you ready for a joke that I guarantee everyone in Iowa has heard or made at the beginning of the season?
Let's hear it.
That pick that he threw against TCU was not very Purdy, but I'm sorry. It's sitting there. You have to do it. I apologize. I really do. But it's there, and it happened, so we have to move on from it. But he does have so much upside. He's somebody I've compared to Romo, and I think that might have been the nail in the coffin.
It was.
I think he's still got so much talent. He went, I believe, 24-7 last year, touchdown interception ratio. He's got this mold where I don't think a lot of his success will come in college. I think that once NFL coaches get their hands on him and he can go to somewhere akin to where Burrow is going in Cincy, because Zach Taylor is a QB coach. He is going to be very good at shaping those QBs. If he can get somewhere in the building, I hope Kevin O'Connell goes somewhere. He used to be the OC for the Washington to be determined, and now he is the OC for Sean McVay and the Rams. I hope he gets somebody who's got that kind of offensive mind that will really let him figure out his rhythm.
What if he ends up on the Rams and, at the end of that horrendous contract that Jared Goff got, they just decide to not extend him and he ends up going the way of Blake Bortles and Brock Purdy takes over?
I'd love to see it. I would absolutely love to see Sean McVay's fingerprints on the Brock Purdy game plan. But that would also come off a bit of copycat because there's the second overall pick in that class. They just drafted Jalen Hurts to usurp him if the time calls for it.
Whoa. That's Wentz.
Yeah. I just said the second person in that draft class.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't understand anything of what just happened until after it was explained to me.
The train got lost, but it found the station.
Happens a lot.
For the record, I am buying for now. We need to see how his next 2 games go. I'm very hopeful with Brock Purdy, though.
I already purchased.
Topher's walked out of the store with Purdy. Next up, we have a quarterback who, after we've mentioned Jalen Hurts, a quarterback who now plays in his old domain.
Yes, of course.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
I'm gonna go ahead and take the wheel on this one to start off.
You can do that if you want.
I truly am believing that something has switched in his brain, and he is now focused on making NFL caliber quarterbacks. We've seen it with Hurts. Obviously, he did not get to finish his career at Bama, but he is in the NFL, 2nd-round pick. Tua Tagovailoa, 5th overall pick. Mac Jones could be next in line here, in my opinion. He's not ever going to be a top 5 quarterback, but he could be very Minshew-esque, I think. Not the mustache and the excitement and all of that, but he could be a later round flyer that gets picked up and actually is pretty serviceable when you look at it down the line.
A lot of people thought the same thing about A.J. McCarron. The Alabama legend, A.J. McCarron. So my take is I am so not impressed. Wow, okay. It's just Bama being Bama. They're winning, and he's also there.
Yeah, Najee Harris has done a number for him.
They just love making QBs that don't churn out NFL careers, a la A.J. McCarron.
A la A.J. McCarron. Jake Coker? Anybody?
I didn't even know who that was. We talked about him before the show. I literally didn't know who he was. And then he looked at me, he was like, oh, that's the guy that handed the ball off to TJ Yeldon.
And Derrick, I believe.
And Derrick was also there. Pretty sure he was a true freshman at that point. He was a freshman.
Oh, he's such a monster.
He was terrifying in college. He was so scary.
How did we already get back onto Derrick Henry? Back to the Alabama quarterbacks.
I said my piece. He's not, no. Sell. Out.
He's just, I don't know, maybe I'm way too high on efficiency, but he's throwing the ball at almost 75% completion rate right now.
I'm going to be honest, you did just say that, Gardner was something to strive for. And that's not a shot at Gardner. I love Gardner. But if he didn't have a personality, he'd be the most boring quarterback in the NFL.
Exactly. But people are buying into him because he can complete the passes necessary. And, he has talent. I think Mac Jones is very similar to that. He's not going to be an air raid quarterback like obviously Minshew was when he came in.
It's so boring, though.
Yeah, he's
so boring.
He's white bread. He is white bread Gardner Minshew. But the product you're getting from Gardner Minshew on the field is still worth starting. So that's just kind of my outlook on him. Now, we forecasted it a bit. We were going to talk about one quarterback that is not currently eligible to be drafted. You have all probably heard of him. He resides out in Oklahoma. He is Lincoln Riley's new special pet, Spencer Rattler. He's come out of the gates a bit cold. He's already lost to Kansas State and Iowa State. Brock Purdy represent. And people are already kind of weary of him. Topher, give me a little bit of insight here.
I don't really get it. I know he's Lincoln Riley's new star child, but I'm selling. Gonna come out with it. I usually say at the end because I forget to say it at the beginning. I'm selling. I don't get it. Don't know why people like him so much. He's got one win.
Yeah.
Gonna let that one hang. It's 1-2. Brock Purdy has 2 touchdowns. That's as many losses as Spencer Rattler has.
Jesus. Coming back to Purdy.
I'm not even sure. Purdy deserves it.
He does.
Rattler doesn't.
I
don't even think Riley. I know he has 10 touchdowns, 10 to 4 picks.
Yeah.
Cool. Over 70 completion percentage.
Yeah.
1 win. That's a nope. That's a big old nope.
Now, let me make my pitch here.
You go for it, bud.
You've got to give him time. We were talking about this earlier. He is the first out of Lincoln Riley's past 3 quarterbacks that have not had previous college experience and touched college football before Lincoln got his hands on him. And you look at where these other guys were coming. Baker was with Cliff Kingsbury. We saw Kyler. I don't remember who his coach was at that particular juncture.
No.
And then we had, obviously, Jalen Hurts with one of the greatest college coaches of all time. We don't have that luxury with Spencer Rattler. He's only 3 games in as a starter, and he was sitting behind Kyler last year. Jalen, excuse me. He, like you mentioned, he is throwing a 73% clip. He has not been able to be in a program yet, whereas we've seen Lincoln Riley more or less just be the polishing guy here. Now he's got to build it, and then he's got to clean it up. We need a bigger holding period for Spencer Rattler. I don't think 3 games is fair to him. I don't think 3 games is fair to anybody, really. So for right now, I'm still firmly on the Spencer Rattler train. I am good to go, and I think he will still be challenging Keaton Slovis and Sam Howell next year, if not the year after, if he decides he does want to wait. But right now, all things are a go for me.
We can come back to this next year.
Yeah. When
maybe I'll buy then. Right now, so not impressed.
Well, it's not been awesome, but he's also missing like CeeDee Lamb and some very key pieces to the Creed Humphrey's gone.
Yeah.
It's just, we got to give it time. But that is our final quarterback for today. Topher, any other thoughts on somebody you didn't get to touch on, or are you good with this list?
I have a question about a non-quarterback.
Okay.
What's Chuba Hubbard been up to?
Chuba Hubbard things, man. He's
balling?
Yeah, he's just tearing people up.
Sweet.
He's just bulldozing whatever's in his wake.
Is he the best running back coming out of this class?
Travis Etienne probably, and then Chuba Hubbard.
Okay. We'll probably talk about that in another show. I was just interested.
Could be next episode, for all you know. We could move down the line with these.
Probably next episode if it's not wide receivers.
Stay tuned. But yeah, as always, that has been our show. I'm Jax McCarty.
I am always Chris Barr.
We'll see you guys next time.